We are with Danny Matthews today. We've worked with Danny a couple of times in the past. It's always been very good fun. And we're doing a workshop about finding more clients, which I think everybody is interested in. It's one of those mysteries that we're all trying to crack the code. As usual, if anybody's got any comments, questions, it doesn't have to be anything specific, about the workshop. It just be comments about, where you're at, what you're doing, what you're trying to find, and how we could potentially help. And also, they'll be recording this, and if anybody cuts out or needs to dash off for work purposes, I know it's in the middle of the day, and there's other things going on. Email me at hello@writeline-events, and I'll send you one over. But I'll stop waffling on, Danny. I'll throw it over to you. And be really interested to see what you've got, and if there's any questions, we'll fit them at the end.
Yeah, cracking. I'll probably blitz. I've got some slides. I know these are fairly informal, so I'll blitz through them. I'm going to talk about myself a bit, and I don't tend to do it where it's not needed, but I think it gives some good context. What I'm going to share with you is less of kind of like marketing-y speak, I guess, even though there will be some of that, but more about just learned experience, shared experience with you. So I appreciate you, Chris, having me here to talk to everyone. I know when I say online, like that, I really appreciate you having me along. It's not just for likes, I entered the design world way after. I ran a different business and a different industry and all that stuff. So I entered the design world and almost felt a little bit of an outsider, if you like. So I hope that just by Chris allowing me to share a little bit with you, it makes you feel a little bit included as well. And you get a bit of knowledge from it, and hopefully you go and put it into practice and you get something from it. So without further ado, let me share my screen and let's blitz through these slides. Right. Where are we? Cool, here we go. Good stuff. Hey guys, so I'm going to talk to you about finding more clients, and I'm going to share this from experience. So rather than me just passing on information, I want to share with you just the couple of things that I do to make sure I'm getting the right clients through the door as a designer. Who wants more clients? I can see a couple of you on the screen. Show me your hands. Say yes in the chat. Do what you like. Everyone want more clients? It's a good thing. Yeah. What does more clients equal? What do we think? More money? Nice. More portfolio stuff. More stuff to show. More marketing collateral. More things to show people, to talk about. And if you do it right and you get more money and more portfolio stuff and more marketing, you also get more clients. Great. However, it also means when you've got more clients, you have less time, you have less control over things because you're always juggling the work and life, and you have less growth. And eventually there's less opportunity because you're so in a cycle of getting clients, marketing the stuff, trying to get more clients. Actually, you don't think about, what do I need to do in this business to allow it to grow or allow it to sustain whatever you're doing? Whenever someone asks me, what do you want out of the business? My answer is always the same, which is, I just want to wake up tomorrow and be able to do this again. And it confuses a lot of people because that doesn't sound like growth. It doesn't sound like growing a business. But, success is different to everyone. And for me, it's just doing what I enjoy every day and doing some cool stuff with people that I like, I guess. And what I'm about to share with you has allowed me to do that, and has allowed me to say no to clients more than I say yes, and all those things. So hopefully this gives you a helping hand. So once upon a time, I've been a freelancer. I've run a 14-person agency, working with some amazing startups and brands and all kinds of stuff. But I realized at one point that personally, I was earning the same, if not less, money with a 14-person team as I was as a freelancer. And I realized when I spoke to a coach that I know in America, and one day he said, what's the point in growing just to break even? And I went, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like I went from being a brand designer or a designer to basically a HR advisor, managing people and problems all the time. And I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. So at one point I had this big dream of like building an agency and being this big company, until I realized that that's not really what I wanted. Over the years, I was presented with some opportunities, like for, when friends or family or people ask you to do something for them and they're willing to like give you something in return or equity. I was getting all those kinds of opportunities, and some of them were really good, like, can you come and help us and we'll give you a percentage of the company or whatever. And over time, that's what happened. And I realized that even though I was a designer and that was my skill, I was really interested in just like building stuff, like creating things that were out there in the real world that people would see, or that I would see on a train one day and go, oh shit, like I did that. That's actually real in the real world. And people see it every day. And I love the feeling of that kind of significance, I guess. And, we're all driven by different things. But for me, that was it. I wanted to feel like I'd done something good in the world. So I closed my agency not so long ago and started what I call a venture builder. And a little bit of that is me investing in companies. There's a few companies that I invested in. Also, I'm a director of a chapter of Founder Institute, which is the world's largest pre-seed tech accelerator. So they're in Silicon Valley, and they gave birth to people like Udemy and Oddbox and some of the startups that we know and love and that have done really well. And we're right in the middle of operations now. So we've got 30 founders going through the accelerator at the moment. So I started Short Story Ventures, and the whole purpose of me starting this was to invest my creativity, but also money, and sometimes just connections, like connecting an investor to a startup, or connecting, a professional services person to a coach I know, or like an accountant or whatever. I wanted to meet people and connect people and show them that it doesn't always, this thing that we do where we try to run this business, it doesn't always have to be money in that value exchange. It can be other things as well. And for me, sometimes I would just find projects I really wanted to do, and I would just say, I'll do it for free, like just let me in. So at the moment, for example, I love giving back to young people as well. So I've got 10 students doing a project for me at the moment, which is a brain care journal based on science. I'm also looking for a neuroscientist with a specialism in mushrooms to do a product, and I'm literally throwing myself out there and just saying, look, if you want to do stuff, I'm available. And that's what brings it to me. I think excitement and passion is really contagious, and that's what's done it for me, I guess. Now, one of the things that I think is important to tell you, to give you a little bit of context, is I entered the design world with no education. I left home at 13. I was homeless, got taken in by a friend's family. And when I entered the design field, I had no experience in design. I was fully self-taught. I touched Photoshop a few times, but nothing more than that. I had no physical qualifications. I'd never been to university. But what I did have is people and practice, like conversations with humans and just going around figuring it out. So before I was a designer, I ran a business in financial services. I was a mortgage and insurance broker for 10 years. And before that, tried my hand at a few things, ran a tattoo shop, all kinds of stuff. And what I realized is, when I entered the design world or the branding world, I realized that I had the same challenges as all the other businesses I was speaking to. I just had a different way of solving the problem. I just had a different way of, I can solve this with branding or brand strategy or design or whatever it was. But it was the same challenges I experienced as a business owner: sales, marketing, operations, people, HR, firefighting, all those things. And I think that really connected with people. And since then, I've had a few little goes at doing stuff that I really enjoy. And I thought I'd just float a few of them past you. But also, I've built an amazing community of business owners, I guess. And one thing I see a lot of designers and creatives do is they attract a lot of the same. We're really good at attracting more designers and more illustrators. Some of you might feel like that if you do a lot of content or social media. You want those businesses snapping at your heels, but actually designers like them all the time, or, comment, and similar people to you. And, it's because like attracts like, and it's how we communicate. So I've built a community. I have a mastermind for business owners, and I give back to young people all the time. So this was a little studio day I offered as the Dragon's Den prize, if you like, at one of the local colleges. And some of these in the picture are the people that are doing a project with me to build a journal. So that's really fun. And now I just work with clients I love, getting paid what I want, and that's hopefully what you can do as well. So it wasn't always this way, is a really important message. But would you rather work with clients you love, getting paid what you want? I know I would, because that will give you more time to do what you love. So here's the only 3 things I need to work with more of the right clients. So everyone wants more clients, but actually more clients sometimes just means more pain in the ass, really. Less time, more pain. And really what we're looking for is more of the right clients. So I want to share 3 things with you: vision, method, system. And this is the only 3 things I do. I don't do anything else. No other marketing activity, sales activity, or whatever. And this is the only thing I use to get the right clients through the door. So the first thing, a vision. So I think it's really important that before you go out there and try and get the clients you want, you actually know who they are. Sometimes that can be a company, like a very specific company. Sometimes that can be an industry, sometimes a product. Sometimes it's just what interests you. I've been fascinated with the whole adaptogenic mushroom kind of thing for about 2 years now, and I still haven't found someone, but I talk about it every now and again. And believe it or not, I'll be at some weird breakfast networking thing and I'll say, oh, by the way, and if anyone knows anyone in the mushroom thing, and someone will randomly say, actually, I know a mushroom scientists that are nutritionists or whatever. And I'll be like, what? How does that even happen? So it's just about putting it out there and knowing what you want and asking for it. Second is profile. Like, who's the person? If you know the company or the industry or whatever, who's the person you want to work with? And I don't just mean like the director of the company or the CEO of the company or whatever, and their role. You want to know, like, what are their behaviors? What are they pissed off about? What do they enjoy doing as a hobby? Because isn't it more enjoyable working with someone who likes rock climbing if you like rock climbing? Because you've got like a common interest and something to talk about. I bumped into a woman at a networking thing once and she said that she was into rock climbing. And I was like, I've always wanted to do rock climbing. And we ended up having a meeting on the wall. Like, it's crazy, but you can do that. Like, it's your thing. You can do what you want. And I think we lose sight of that sometimes. So the second thing is profile. Who are they? What are they interested in? Do you have like a common interest or common goal? And third is criteria. And I think this is one of the most important things you can possibly have in your business. So I'm going to quickly give you a couple of examples of the other things, and then I'm going to get onto that. So if it's a project that you want, like mine would be Sibling Gin, which is a local gin distillery. I know the owner, Cicely, and she would match my criteria, and I'll share that with you now. So my criteria, whenever I speak to anyone about work, whether it's design, branding, it could be anything, I want to know 3 things. Do you have a goal? And I know that sounds silly, but some companies don't. They don't have like this is my plan to get to X, Y, and Z. They just go, I wake up every day, I go to work, I hope to God the work comes in, and I get paid the invoice, and then I move on to the next job. Some people don't actually have a goal, but I need that. I need I need a North Star or something to work towards. So I need to know that they have a goal. So if I'm talking to someone and I say, so what's your goals this year? And they go, oh, like, just to grow the business. I'm like, that's not enough. I need you to tell me, like, what is the goal? And if they say, well, I'm looking to get 200 clients this year, I'm like, amazing. Okay, number 2, do you know how you're going to get there? That's my second criteria. So if you have a goal, amazing. Do you know how you're going to get there? I want to know that they've got a goal and they're going to say, yeah, I have this product, and if I sell 14 of them, I'll be there. Great. Like, I know what we need to do now. We need to sell 14 of them to get to your goal. And do they know the challenges they're going to have to get there? They don't have to be perfect, but I want to know that they've thought about, what am I going to come up against? Now, a lot of this criteria isn't about the specifics. I just want to know that they know them. So I don't actually care what they are. I just want to know that they know. So as long as they can tell me they have a goal, they know how they're going to get there, and they know that there's going to be a challenge, and then they kind of get an idea of what that is my criteria. Because then I know that we're working towards something, and this isn't like a fluffy, I just want a logo kind of thing. So I want to know that. So that's really important. So second, a method. What is, and this I think confuses people. So we'll have loads of Q&A at the end, hopefully. But process, like, what is the natural order of what you do? Like, walk it through step by step. So what does an ideal client that you want, what do they need to go in order to get the best out of you? I used to hate it, and some of you guys will get this. I used to hate it when I got messages, maybe once a week, once a fortnight on Facebook or, LinkedIn or whatever. And it just said, hey, Danny, how much is a logo? I used to get so frustrated. I was empathetic to the fact that, they don't know, like, they don't know any better. So that's like the first thing they think of. But it was frustrating because that's an immediate sign to me that they have no idea the value of design. And it was frustrating. But instead of getting mad at them or shouting at them, I just explained to them, look, in order for me to get the best out of this, we're not going to start with a logo. Can we have a talk about your goals as a business? And they would get a feeling of like, oh, he's probably working towards something else, or he's got some, he wants to do something else for us or help us grow or whatever. So it obviously gave them an inkling of like, there's more to this than just a logo. And it became a really good way of getting business. So I would encourage people to ask me how much is a logo, because I knew it would end up as a conversation that we needed to have. So one thing you'll hear me say probably a few times during this is that usually what people think they want is not what they need, but it is what attracts them to you. So it's kind of a nuance of communication, but an important one. So that's process, like, what's the natural order of what you do? Second, a product. I would love to know this, actually. Can you put it in the chat or just give me a show of hands as I look around? Does any of you have like a clearly defined product that if someone said, what will this do for me? You can tell them a transformation that is going to happen because of it. I think that's the one thing missing from every creative's business, because I know that I have 12 clearly defined steps in order for someone to go from a brand that they've kind of put up with to a brand that they absolutely love and that actually works for them as a business. And if they needed one part of that or all 12, I can tell them the exact transformation they can expect at each stage. That is a product. That is a sellable product that I can sell over and over again. And it doesn't matter if it's for one person, a group of people, or a room of 500 people. I can pick parts of that, and they will get value out of it. So it's really important that you've not only got a natural order, like a process that you go through, but also a product, something you can actually sell that is clearly defined and clearly and is easy for you to communicate with people. So and then the third is protection, and protection is natural. Once you do the process and the product, you naturally get some intellectual property protection because you have something unique there to offer someone. Okay. Here's a bit of an idea of how that would work, because I know that there'll be questions about it, but I'm going to blitz through it. So if you've got any questions, please write them down, put them in the chat, whatever you need to do. Here's a list of what I could do, right? Goals, vision, mission, purpose, values, we've all seen this stuff over and over and over again. so what I needed to do is define how I could group these into like little pockets of stuff. So an example of that is like vision, mission, and values. It's like a pocket of things that are closely related. So that's good. I'll keep them together. Positioning, audience, and competitors sounds like market research, market analysis. So I'll kind of pocket them as well. Mood boards and logo and stuff like that is kind of similar. So I'm pocketing them as well. So you can see I'm kind of grouping these because they're pretty similar. And then there's a transformation at each stage. So if you do an exercise for vision, mission, and values, and this is like branded speak, so you will go from a reactive operator in your business to a visionary leader. And that gives someone a kind of flavor of, oh, okay, so if I just do this little thing, that is what I can expect. And the same with the others. Unclear on your USP to clarity of your position. From blind confidence to real confidence for like visual stuff. And then you can start to put these into what I guess call phases. So vision and mission and values feels like strategy to me, like brand strategy, knowing where you're going, direction, that kind of stuff. Positioning, audience, competitors feels like finding your market position. So I'll call that phase position. And then mood boards and logo, I'll call that creation, because that's the actual physical creation of things. And then you can start to not only have transformations at each step phase or each stage, but at each phase. So you can start to go from X to Y for strategy, from X to Y for position, from X to Y for creation. And you end up with a repackaged service into a product that is protectable for intellectual property, that is easily communicated, easily consumed, and easily repeated by every client that goes through it. And it looks something like this. And this has been the single thing that my business has run off over the last 5 years. So, and this is someone else's that I did for them, and this isn't mine. But essentially, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a simple, repeatable product, essentially. We think of ourselves sometimes as service providers, and we miss out this opportunity to be really simple and clear about the thing that we offer and the value that we can give to people outside of just designing a damn logo for someone. So this has been great for me. So once you've got that, you've got the process, the product, and the protection, and you've done the first bit. Last is a system. And a system, let's call it a marketing system or a lead system, whatever you want to call it, consists of only 3 things: a magnet, a flow, and an offer. So a magnet, so something, like I said before, something they think they want. It's like an immediate need. I just need to solve this quick problem, like now. You're looking for like using your logo in your brand. So a lot of people don't realize that sometimes they can take the logo and create a pattern or like a graphic or something cool with it. You know, it just ends up being a logo. How boring is that? But actually, there's loads of stuff you can do with logos. So giving them a resource to help them understand what's already on their mind is a really good way of, you know, trading their email address for a resource that they want to use. And I'll kind of give you a bit of an idea of what that looks like in a second. The second is flow. So how many of you understand what people need to know before they buy from you? So however you get clients, whether it's by email, by phone call, a meeting, whatever it is, what's the step before that? And what do they need to know in order to get on the call, get the meeting, whatever it might be? Do they need work examples? Do they need a proposal? Proposal is a completely separate subject that we could go on for ages for, but I've never sent a proposal in my life. Actually, I've sent one proposal in my life, but it was a terrible version of a proposal that unexpectedly did very well. So how much do you understand about what they need to know before they say yes? And if you do understand that, can you put it into some kind of system that helps them just take the next logical step at the time and place that they're comfortable to do that? Because if you can, it removes the need for you to sell anything, because they're already in a state of like, I'm waiting for the next bit of information, or help me move along this kind of journey. So we hear about like customer journeys and stuff all the time, but I don't think many people really understand them, because it's very, very simply just helping someone reach the next logical step. But very often we go from, oh, they don't know us, to, I wonder if they'll buy something from me. And you miss out all this dating, I guess you could call it. You miss out all like the fancy stuff. They're going to a nice restaurant and they're giving them a gift and all that kind of stuff. How are we doing for time, Chris?
Just over 15 minutes, mate.
Good stuff. The 15 minutes gone or left?
They're left.
Oh, great. Good stuff. So the third thing is offer. Do you have an offer at the different stages of that buying journey? Not everyone wants a full rebrand, is one thing I learned. I thought, what, you don't want a rebrand? I realized that I could just sell a strategy session with a group of people that paid me the same as they would pay me for a full rebrand, because the value was all in the information, the learning, them understanding what it is you do and the process you go through. It's amazing when you put yourself out there and you try different things. It's amazing what you learn about people and what they buy and why the hell they buy it. And one of the things I learned from doing I guess you could call it a group branding program, is that people will pay you just to sit next to you. It's mad. It's insane. And I would have never thought that when I started. So try different things, like the different, and I'll give you a bit of an idea of the buying journey in a second. So here's a bit of an idea of what Magnet Flow offer looks like. Magnet, write the perfect logo design brief. If people are annoyed, like that they've been to a marketplace and they've tried to get a logo and it hasn't worked out. So, and sometimes they go, the designer was rubbish, or there's something in the back of their mind that says, I probably didn't give them the information they needed. So by you helping them do that, it's a chance for you to educate them and get them into your world, if you like. So coming up with like a lead magnet is great. Second, something I learned from a friend of mine that does marketing funnels, if you like, is most marketing emails last about 10 days. So when you download something, they usually follow up with an email, and they say like, hey, this is the company, here's the team, this is what we do, and, on a scheduled email kind of sequence. There's a real problem with this. Statistically, people don't buy till day 43, at least. And we're stopping emails at 10 days, 7 to 10 days. So this is what a flow or a system for this looks like. It looks like day one is, hey, thanks for downloading the thing. If you want to book a call, here's an idea of times available, whatever. In between, there's a few emails. And then I go, look, if you're not ready to do anything yet, let me help you right now. I do a service called One Pitch Wonder. It's 150 quid. You can book it, and I'll tell you how to get more business from every meeting that you have by having a better pitch, basically. And they pay for it, and it's all it goes through, and they book a time through like Calendly. And then a few weeks later, I say there's a free workshop on how to do your own brand strategy, and they jump on it. And then there's an offer, and I say, here's the core offer. If you want to rebrand, here's the packages, etc. And then they get to another one, and it's like, you didn't take the core offer, so why don't you try like a lower price product? So how about a one-day studio sprint where you can just pay like 1,500, 2 grand, and we can spend a day together and we can work on whatever you like. You've got me for the whole day. And then later on, they get to call again. Later on, I introduce them to the fact that I have a mastermind, but there's a waiting list and all kinds of stuff. So there's so many opportunities. And the best thing about this is right at the end, day 90. This is 3 months we've been talking. Day 90, I say, Okay, it's time to flip a coin. You've been on my list for 90 days. I've made a bunch of offers and you've done nothing. So you either commit to the next 90 days and do something, or you click unsubscribe and you go away. And surprisingly, some people need to go through the system twice to do anything, you know, but it needs it. So I thought I'd add something onto this as well, something that you could like actionable takeaway. So this is the I don't have any of this fancy stuff bonus, which is a simple way to create content online that just works like clockwork. And it's this. It's my screen. There you go. It's what, why, lesson, apply with a call to action. So this is I did a challenge a few years ago where I challenged myself to do a live video on Facebook every day for a year, and within just 3 days, people were like, "How are you coming up with this content?" And I was like, "I'm just doing this." So it's really simple. It's what happened today that stands out to me. So you can do this like at the end of the day. What happened today that stands out to me? Why does it stand out? What lesson can I learn from it? And how can others apply it? And what is a relevant call to action? And I promise you, you can turn anything into content. And, and I'm going to show you an example that's pretty stupid, but we'll go with it. So the what? I made oats for breakfast, and without realizing, I burnt my mouth. I've been trying to design a logo with a tight deadline, and I'm having a hard time explaining my ideas. The lesson is, like oats, sometimes things need to sit and cool. I came back to it later and produced the best outcome for the client. The oats tasted better for it too. If you're having difficulty with something in your life or business, then right now, step away. That's my advice. Last time a client stepped away from branding and let me help them, they triple turnover in a year following their rebrand. And then a call to action. I tell them what to do. And literally, you can do this every day because it's like a random thing that happened that day. So I promise, like, screenshot it, do what you need to do. But this is a really simple way you can literally go out there and create content now. And next time you follow up with a call to action to message you or book a call, I promise you'll get bites. It's the only way I've ever got business. I've never done anything else. And if the call to action is a lead magnet, they get into your system as well and they do the whole thing. But without it, you can use this. So it's great. So that's it. Get more clients you love, not just the clients you get or accept. And I hope that that's helped. Thank you, everyone.
That's brilliant, Danny. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. As usual, that seems a lot more comprehensive naturally because you've developed that over time when we first did it.
Yeah, a lot. Quite a lot, actually.
You were in a different place. Also, obviously, wasn't you within from the agency perspective and the businesses developed. So it's really good to see, you know, the growth of what you offer as well as the ability to give other people the opportunity to do it. I've just got a few things. If anybody's got any questions, please drop them into the chat. I know it's can sometimes be a bit daunting to throw out questions out there, but I'm happy to ask them on your behalf. Or any of the comments. Obviously, there's a few dropped in there of support, which is great, Danny. Do you target people based upon maybe how they currently look? Do you sort of see where there's potential in businesses and then sort of go after them, or is it just you got to a point where people now approach you?
Well, I'd love to say it's luck, but I don't approach people unless it's something I'm really passionate about or excited about. Like if I know I want to work with a company or a project, every now and again I will approach someone, but it's rare nowadays. They tend to just be part of the machine, and when they're ready, they're ready. They tell you. They just openly tell you.
From your end, does that involve, say, quite a regular attending networking and meeting people in that respect? So you get given the opportunity to sort of show them what you're capable of.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of like online or in person, like Zoom networking type stuff. I also run a few groups, so I've over the years I've slowly built like a small community anyway. But yeah, they tend to come from those Because it's weird when you meet people in person, they're more likely to engage with you online because they feel like they know you now and they can, they can comment as if they're your friend, sort of thing. So I do find that helps.
Yeah, it breaks down a lot of barriers, doesn't it? If you can have those more, build relationships that allow you to have those quite candid conversations, because it is a difficult thing to start to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it didn't come easy for me. I'm now a little bit better at communication and stuff, but it took a lot of working on, on my pitch and on understanding what the value is that I do, and it's always changing. Like it's never going to be perfect. I think it's just it's a good message just to know that you're out there and everyone's winging it. You're not alone.
There's something that I talk quite a lot when we do when I sort of talk to people about branding, because I'm always conscious as I have a way of doing it, but I'm always conscious of sort of saying to people, you should do this, because it's it's quite with the amount of studios that we've had, you can boil it down and they're relatively same processes. There's some nuances in there. But I'm always really advocating, I'm a big advocate, sorry, of saying, if you can reflect what you do quite concisely and show those methods that you say worked for business because they've worked for yourself. And that's one thing that I think a lot of designers, individuals, freelancers, small teams, business owners, sometimes just fall into the trap of I'm a designer, and it becomes very sort of vague and not very concise. So that's something I think is really important for people to do, isn't it? To be able to show a client that they've done those processes on themselves.
Yeah, it's the difference between what you do and the result of what you do. And I think the way that you explain that to people makes a big difference. Since I moved over from agency to Short Story Ventures, I went from calling myself like a designer to a venture builder. But and then I tried both. So at the moment, I think on LinkedIn, I'm brand designer, venture builder, creator of brand confidence. And I've tried both separately as well to see what the difference is. And there isn't much difference, to be honest. I think it was just in the people that already knew me asked questions, but that's it, really.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Beth has just dropped in a question there. If a client asks for creative measurement options, what would you suggest? For me, some clients don't always understand the value of how to get buy-in higher up at board level.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's very easy to do this wrong, I believe. So it's easy to like overanalyze how to explain ROI to businesses. I have a kind of a two punch approach, which is, the first one is I never tell them what it's going to be. Instead, I allow them to tell me, and that is just a case of like smart questioning. So it's not my place to tell them what the ROI is going to be, but I can give them an indication based on what they tell me. So, and that's just about asking them what their expectations are and that kind of thing, and kind of maneuvering around that. Secondly, I've just got a bit of a funny way of explaining the ROI of branding, which is, I've got a young family, so I have a 4-year-old and 2 boys, 1 4 and 1 that's nearly 2. So a young family. So as a way for me to explain ROI, I usually explain it in the context of parenting, and I tell them I've got 2 boys, 1 4, 1 nearly 2, and every time they scream at me, I have to think what I want the teenager version of them to be. So, and that helps me do the right thing. And that's kind of like branding. Like if you really want to know the ROI of branding, you have to know that you're doing the right thing with the right person that you trust, that you're hoping to work with over the long term. And you have to trust that I'm going to help you do that. I can't give you an exact number, but branding is a bit like parenting. You just do the right thing and hope that your toddler doesn't turn out like a shitbag teenager. That's basically it. And I don't know what else to say to them, but that's kind of the way it works. And what I do know is that, so I have kind of a philosophy, if you like, brand confidence philosophy, which is every person, product, and place has a brand. And when you become a business owner, it becomes your duty to positively influence how that's perceived. Like it's not just something you do, it's your duty to do that. So when talking about ROI or return or whatever it might be, my conversation is around my philosophy and the fact that everyone has one. You just need to do good stuff to it, because if you don't, other people will end up playing with it and determining what the perception is of it.
And there is also something in the ROI thing where it's not just financial return gain, is it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's so much more to it than that, isn't there? Whether it's
Yeah. There's so what I've recognized over the last few years is that the companies that come to me have usually done the social media thing, SEO, tried the SEO thing for 6 months and it didn't really improve, or improved a little bit, but it was expensive. Hired someone to train their sales people, hired a new set, like whatever it is. They've tried a lot of stuff and they're just plateaued. They're not really improving the performance of their business. And the only way that they can do that is by going back to the foundations and starting again. Like, is your goal still the same? Is your vision for the business still the same? Has it changed? Like, what does a business look like? People just work and they forget to reassess what their business goals are. So I almost try to pull them out of it and say, like, what do you actually want now? And branding is the only thing that will improve the performance of your business. The only thing. If you tried everything else, branding is the only thing, because it will force you to relook at the foundations of what you've created and reassess where you go.
Amazing. Brilliant, mate. Really, really appreciate that. And I don't think there's any other questions popped up. I know we've got a couple of minutes left, but
thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
A good place to end it. Where can people find you, Danny, just in case anybody's looking to connect after?
LinkedIn's the best place. I think me and Pierce have crossed paths before, and one or two people in the room. So yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere. The actual Danny, not a Daniel. I will show you my passport if you need me to, but it's the actual Danny. You can find me pretty much everywhere.
Amazing, mate. I really, really appreciate it, and it's been a great sort of insight into that. I think that will help a lot of people, and it'd be good to see, hopefully, people thrive from this. And if there's anybody who wants to record it, we've recorded this, so I can send this on. I know Beth, you emailed, I'll get that out to you. But anybody else, it's always good to be able to recap. So just email me at hello@lightandlineevents.co.uk and I'll get that sent out later. But until next time, mate, it's been a pleasure, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Hopefully see you all again soon. Take care.
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Thank you.
Soon.